I'm pleased to have former Cranston Mayor Steve Laffey in studio with me. As you may have heard, Steve Laffey is running for president as a Republican. Welcome back. This is old homecoming time for you.
This is great to be with you. I've been here all day and having a great time going around my old haunts.
For those who may not know, you moved out to Colorado. You've been as a rancher there for some time. And you're back. You're spending a lot of time in Rhode Island as part of this presidential bid you're making. This is real.
This is real, I'm living in New Hampshire right now, but I'm down in Rhode Island. Obviously, it's not too far. Okay. I think that's where I have to break out. And I think, Gene, the country will not directly confront its problems. There are massive problems. And I'm going to. And that's why I'm running, to change the very nature of the debate.
Are you bristling at this notion that you're a very long shot? Are you pushing back against that? Or are you comfortable with that until you do break out?
Listen, if you have a growth stock, I'd rather be like where I am today than what's happened to some of the people who've already announced. I just want to know where I'm going to be in 6 months. Many people have broken through. Herman Cain, broke through in 2011. And I think I'm about to break through. I've been on a lot of shows and, Good Morning America, this and that. So Daily News and Newsmax 3 times. So it's starting to happen. It's really starting to happen. Nobody else is really directly confronting these problems.
Right. All right. I'm going to get to the problems because you have a list on your website.
Sure.
You'll direct people to your website. But I was speaking. We have mutual friends, mutual people in politics, and I was speaking to them about you, and they said, well, your strategy is, hey, if Pete Buttigieg can break out as the mayor of South Bend, Cranston might be about the same population. You think you can. But Buttigieg had a story. He was going to be the first gay candidate to make it that far, and he got a lot of the young vote. What's your breakout angle? How are you going to do this other than I'm from Cranston, Rhode Island?
No, I'm a financial expert, and we have a giant financial problem. I mean, Mayor Buttigieg was a terrible mayor. We single-handedly turned around Cranston from bankruptcy, the fastest turnaround in United States history. It still looks pretty good. From you remember when I came in, it was the lowest bond rating. It was 37 days. I taught the top finance course at the University of Rhode Island while I was here, and we have a giant financial problem. That's how I'm going to break through. When you see these other people comment on what happened to SVB Bank, you have to shake your head. I mean, the governor of Florida thinks it's because they're a woke bank. That's not why. They mismatch assets and liabilities. So I'm not sure anybody understands who's running for president, what's really about to happen to America, but I do. And you've watched me do what I do here in Rhode Island.
You and I caught up on a snowplow once. I remember that right over here in Pontiac Avenue. Now, but am I correct in this strategy that you think if Buttigieg can break out of South Bend, I can do it, even though I'm not well known nationally. In fact, outside of Rhode Island and parts of Colorado, where you ran for office as well. Is this your strategy? That if Buttigieg can do it, I can do it?
If anybody can do it, I can do it.
Okay.
And we've seen people like Herman Cain as maybe a better strategy back in the day.
Right.
And when he broke out, how did he break out? With a brand new plan like the 999 plan for taxes, which people still want to hear about and still like, which I've adopted. Herman Cain became a friend of mine, and he taught me how to do it.
Now, here's what I think, because I remember you as the mayor. If you get on a debate stage and you've got 8 or 9 other guys, I think you're going to do something to get noticed. Because I know Steve Laffey, and what are you going to do?
I don't want to tell you now, but,
am I right?
Well, I think you're right.
So it's a long shot. You think you might be doing it, but you get on the debate stage, you're going to do something to catch a headline.
If they put me on the stage, the world will change.
Well, give me a little hint.
I think other people can't really answer questions, real questions. If I ever turned to someone and said, how would you balance the budget? Why do you think you can't touch Social Security? We need to fix it and modernize it. I'll be answering these questions. We have to end this half-hour news cycle, Gene. Everything keeps changing. People got to be forced to answer questions.
So are you going to direct it to that man who might be sitting in the center?
That's right.
Right, with the red tie?
Yes.
And then right next to him might be another governor, the governor of Florida.
Who can't answer the questions.
You're going to go after them?
Yeah.
Tough, hard?
Yeah. They can't answer the questions. I have all the answers. I spent 20 years getting ready for this.
All right.
There's only one financial expert in the race. Here.
All right. Well, Trump might say I'm a financial expert.
He's a builder.
You would say what?
He's a builder of large buildings. If we need some large buildings when I'm president, we'll give him a call.
Are you going to attack him on some of the losses his company sustained?
Not the losses.
The casinos don't have his name on it anymore.
It's the $8 trillion of debt he ran up. It's the corruption of the PPP program that his buddies got. It's not about what he did as a builder, which was pretty bad anyway. It's about what happened to the country when he was president financially.
Well, financially, he'll say, look at your 401k under me. It was better than anybody else. He'll say, I strengthened the border wall.
It's a lie.
He'll say that? He said I had the best economy of any modern-day president.
Didn't have. The economy while he was president grew at less than 2% per year for 4 years. Why would he say that? We've been so far removed and set the bar so low for presidents, we can't remember what happened under Clinton or under Reagan, when the economy grew at 3% plus. It hasn't happened in 17 years.
All right, let's talk about your plan. Number one on your website is Social Security. Now, your ideas, from what I can see, is, well, I'll let you get into who's grandfathered, who wouldn't be touched, but the idea generally is you pay 10% of your gross pay into what appears to be sort of a government 401k or a government plan like that. It would all be invested equally. There's going to be no picking and choosing of everything. Is this correct? So on 100,000, the first 10 goes to Social Security, or what we're going to call
right now, the first 12 goes there. But yes,
the first version of this.
Well, the people who already have Social Security get what they have. We have a $61 trillion unfunded liability, twice the national debt. It's broke. It's bankrupt. You're going to get your checks cut, Gene. When you get out, your check's going to get cut by 30%. Under my plan, we've totally got to stop destroying the young people of our country. They get a new plan. So when they retire in 40 years, they're going to have a lot more money. Now, the people who are 45, 47, 53, they move into the new plan, right?
Yep.
Could they get less? They could.
How about somebody who's 62?
62 gets into the old plan.
The old plan. Yeah. So we're grandfathered
They're grandfathered in.
Right. Now, isn't this a third rail to touch, even to discuss Social Security?
It is.
And isn't that going to derail whatever chances you have?
No. People know. I heard Mike Pence, who's going to run, I think, on TV saying, we got to let people know there's a problem with Social Security first, quote unquote. Everybody knows there's a problem with Social Security. Everybody under 40 plans not to get it. What kind of system is that, Gene?
Yeah, well, here's what works.
So let's have a different system. Let's fix it. Let's modernize it. And by the way, my plan isn't my plan. It comes from the world-renowned economist Larry Kotlikoff at BU. He's the world leader in Social Security. That's what I do. I get good plans from people who know what they're talking about.
So when you go into the senior citizen building, and you know how they work, at least in Rhode Island, that's where you go get the votes.
Sure.
You're going to tell them about this plan?
Sure. They're already on.
I'm not going to touch you. You're good.
Yeah.
You're safe. This is for your great-grandkids. No, they're not going to get what you get. This is how it's going to work.
That's right. And then we got to take the 61. Listen, in little old Cranston, we had a bankrupt pension system. By the time I left, assets were up 500%. I know pension systems. This is what I do.
Okay, let's talk about taxes. You talked about the 999. Just give it a quick sketch. I'll only get about 3 minutes.
Yeah, we did a new tax system. We can't do what we're doing. We'll never get enough blood out of the stone. We need to raise a lot more money. Herman Cain's idea: half a flat tax, half a fair tax, 9% on corporate income tax, 9% on personal income tax. And so we have a 999 plan, and we got to get it all changed so that we can get a consumption tax on the last 9%, so we can raise a lot more money. Any economist will tell you that's the way we have to do it. It has to be simple, fair, understandable, and we got to get rid of the IS. The thought that Joe Biden would hire 85,000 more workers that he can't find to train, and it takes 4 years to train them, is bizarre. But people love the 999 plan. 70% of the people, when Herman Cain, God rest his soul, talked about it, they wanted it. They still want it. They don't want the IRS.
All right, income tax. You talked about that. You talked about Social Security. Give me your third issue, and then I want to ask you 3 quick issues.
China. I've been talking about China since I ran for the U.S. Senate here in 2005. We should not be trading with China. We have to move away. I was the only person in 05, in 07, I made a movie about it in 2011, that China would never be a democracy. It would build up its military, and it would use it against us. That's exactly what happened.
China's the enemy?
China is the enemy.
Okay, if I go no trading with China, where do I get my flip-flops? And everything in this room that we're sitting in, if I took it out and put it on the front lawn, there'd be nothing here.
Right now,
it'll take, but under your 4 years, if I elect you president, what will happen?
It'll start to move away dramatically. If we don't, what about your children? What about my children? What war are they going to be in?
Right. How would you tell?
Wouldn't you rather avoid that?
How do you tell the guys at Walmart that? Because China's their biggest trading partner. How do you tell some of the retailers here?
Walmart is basically a Chinese company. Listen, they've got 1 million people in concentration camps. 1 million people. We do nothing about it.
Right.
They steal our secrets. They bring people into the country of their own country to threaten our people in our country. The list goes on and on and on. Do we do nothing about it, Gene?
You know, last week.
Nothing?
Last week I had the President Brown University. I've only got about a minute left, and we'll have you on my radio show to flesh this out. And I said, should we cut off Chinese nationals as students at Brown? Would you do that? Would you tell the Ivy Leagues and the other schools no more Chinese national students?
Yes.
You would do that?
Yes.
All right. Donald Trump says he would end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours.
Yeah.
How long would it take you?
Bizarre. It's not going to ever end. The war, the geopolitical situation of Ukraine, we have to do it on a radio show, is much more complicated. But right now, using Ukrainian soldiers in our used equipment, we are exposing Russia as not a world superpower. If they're in Ukraine, Donald Trump would probably give them half the country, and they focus on Poland or Romania, you're at much greater risk for our country. It is a very important issue for Americans, and it should stay that way.
Thanks for coming in. It's
Thank
good
you,
to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. You're a good man.
I'll have you on the radio. We'll keep going. Steve Laffey.
God bless. Thank you.